Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome to vlog number 2. I am here in my apartment right now. I got a pretty cool disc display behind me now, so this is pretty cool. Might be using this for a backdrop of several videos from now on. But today is Thursday, January 14th, and the Savannah Open is this weekend. It's a big beat here. It's about 45 minutes away from where I am right now at school, and I am about to go over there today to get some more practice rounds in. I got enough last 10. I'm going to get over there around lunch and play a couple rounds. I don't know what layouts yet, but I'm going to meet up with my buddy Adam Halford, and we're going to see how it's going. And really excited for this, ready, and just cannot wait. Alright, morning everybody. Today is tournament day. I'll take my hand off the wheel. But today is tournament day. I forgot to record stuff whenever I went over to the Tom Triplet the other day. But Savannah Open starts today. It's 7 a.m. I'm running a little late because my car was iced over and I couldn't see out the windshield. But I'm not used to that. But Chick-fil-A right now. About to get some breakfast and then head over. Alright, a little post-round 1 update. Actually, it's right before round 2, about to go back out there. It's gotten very windy out here, and this is kind of calm right here, but it's very windy. I shot +4. I'm a few strokes out of cash, not bad. Wasn't good. It was a little over my rating, but still not a great round. Just had a lot of really hard to execute shots, and because it was super windy. And it wasn't as cold. It's not as cold as I thought it was going to be, but we'll see how it goes. Wow. Okay, so today was insane. I'm back at my apartment now, and I just got back from Savannah playing first 2 rounds of the Savannah Open, and this was one of the wildest rounds I've ever played because of how insanely windy it was. But first round I shot 4 up from the black pads, not good, but with the conditions it was acceptable. It was 959 rated. And then second round I shot 4 under from reds, which wasn't great, but it was good enough to put me 1 stroke out of cash right now. I'm in tie for 25th at the bottom of 5th card. Tomorrow we're playing golds. I'm just hoping right now to be able to execute shots I need to execute and see where that takes me, because I'm excited about it and cannot wait. Hoping that it's going to be a little calmer conditions tomorrow. I think the forecast says that. I'm not exactly sure though. It might not. But it's going to be cold again in the morning, so I just need to get warmed up in the morning really nicely and see how it goes. I know a few things I need to work on. I need to make more putts. I putted terrible today. To only be 1 stroke out of the cash with how bad I putted, I'll take it every single day. There's only one way to go from here, and that way is up. So let's see you tomorrow. Alright, what's up y'all? I forgot to record after the tournament on Sunday, so today is Monday afternoon. I finished up the tournament yesterday, and now I'm about to give a full tournament rundown of everything that happened. My other videos that you've already seen, probably. I don't know how I'm going to edit this together yet. I gave little quick updates about some things, but now I'm about to go in full depth about everything that happened to me this weekend. Alright, so on Saturday morning, playing round 1 from the black pads. Well, let me get this straight first. At Tom Triplet, there are 3 pads on, I think, every hole. Shorts are white, middles are blue, and longs are gold. Black is a combination of mostly gold with some blue. Red is a combination of some mostly white with some blue, because I'll be playing the black, red, and gold pads for rounds 1, 2, and 3. Just for reference about how I'm going to be talking about each of these rounds. So first round, I started on hole 4. Very first throw, I told myself do not throw OB left, so I threw OB right across the sidewalk by just a few feet. Not the best way to start, but it was okay because I still had a chance to get up and down for par at the very least, but that kind of went away on the very next shot whenever I threw OB again. So I was able to get up and down from there to take a bogey. Started with a 6. Very next hole, 370-foot hyzer. I threw a Blue FX2, one of my favorite discs at the moment right now, and absolutely parked it. Hole 6, It's a par 4, hyzer shot off the tee that I grip locked. Or not really grip locked, but I just didn't throw a good shot pretty much, and it never came in bounds. And so I'm throwing from OB my third shot and did not get up and down in 3 shots from there, so I took a 6. Took a par on 7, birdied both 8 and 9 with 8's a little forehand across the road. I mean, it's a straight shot, but I threw forehand, which is something I'm getting very confident in and thankful for. 9's a pretty easy par 4, but it's still a good birdie to get. 10's another easy par 4, but I missed a 25-footer for birdie on that one. 11, just a straight putter shot, and I threw a bad shot and couldn't get up and down, so I took a 4 there. 12's hard par 3. My game plan on this hole is just to take a 3, and I did that. Hole 13, it's a par 4. For me, it's a forehand off the tee, just trying to go flat and straight and push for a while and dump right, and then hopefully leave myself with a putter hyzer shot to the pin through another gap. And I early released my first forehand, which gave myself no look at the second gap on my second shot, and that caused me to take a bogey because I made a couple more mistakes. Hole 14 is a tough par 4, took a par there. Hole 15 is a pretty hard tunnel shot. I'll probably throw a picture up whenever I edit this together, but it's very tight, maybe only 5 feet wide the entire way down, 220 feet. I threw a forehand A2 from like a almost squatting down position, just to try to keep it low through a gap and under a tree that's hanging across the fairway, and then to the basket is protected in not a spider tree or anything, but there's a bunch of trees that the trunks are just all around the basket on that hole, and I was able to find myself with a putt and I made that. But then I followed it up on 16. This is where the wind really started picking up. It's a 350-foot hole. I had such a big tailwind, I threw my flippy MX3 and just let it go too far left, and because of the wind it never flipped, and I got pin high with it out of bounds, but it was out of bounds, so I took a 4 there. 17's a hard par 3, it's 400 feet, it was like a weird gap. There's gaps there for sure, but with the wind we had and the distance it was with the gap to hit, it's just kind of an awkward shot for me, and I took a par there. 18's a pretty tough par 3, took a par there. Hole 1, it's a 312-foot straight shot off the tee, and this is playing directly into a big headwind. So I stabled up to a slightly overstable MX3 and put it on a little bit of hyzer, and it hit the gap fine. So I let it flip up and ride, and it dumped over to the right. Not dumped, but it flipped over to the right and left myself with about a 30-footer for a birdie. And at this point, I was, let's see, 1, even 2. I was 2 over par at this point. So with 4 holes left, or really with 3 holes left at this point, I really wanted to finish this round at par. And I knew hole 3 is a pretty gettable birdie and 2 is a hard birdie. So I needed to try to make this putt to have a chance to get back to even for the round. Unfortunately, thanks to the headwind, I airballed the putt over the top of the basket. But I actually got on my knee and aimed it at the cage just to try to get it to rise and not go too high. Didn't do that, and left myself with about a 20-footer coming back for the par, and it dropped straight out of the air as soon as it left my hand. Left myself about a 5-foot tap in, and old disc catchers have weird spit throughs and spit outs, and I hit the chains just like I do for just about every 5-foot tap in, but this one just decided to go from here to here and just go straight through the chains, and left myself with a double bogey 5. Not ideal. Hole 2, I had an okay shot and got an easy par. Hole 3, I did not get the easy birdie to finish the round. So at this point, I shot 4 over par. It's a 66. As of right now, it's 958 rated from those black pads, and I think it left me in 33rd place. All right, on to round 2. So this round we were playing the red pads. In normal conditions, everybody is aiming to be double digits under par. This layout is not a bunch of gimme birdies, but almost. Like there's a lot of birdies you absolutely have to get at this layout. I started on hole 6. It's a kind of tough hole. It's 330. It's only 330 and it's wide open, but it's on a ridge, and in the wind we had at that time, I told myself if I wasn't inside 15 feet, I was going to lay it up, and I was about 50 feet, so I laid that one up, took par. Hole 7 is a very easy forehand hole, but I threw a terrible shot and had to scramble with a really hard backhand putter turnover shot to get a par. It's only 160 feet, which should be all day for my forehand little hyzer with an A2. But that didn't happen. Hole 8 is a pretty easy putter, backhand hyzer over a road into a gap, and I just nailed a tree on my way into the green on that hole and left myself a 50-footer that I laid up. Hole 9, let's see, 9 along with hole 2, I'd say are the two toughest holes on the red pad layout at Tom Triplett, and I threw an okay tee shot, left myself like a 60-footer, and missed that one, and then had a 15-footer, but it was kind of awkward. And I'm not trying to make an excuse here because I just missed the putt, but it was kind of awkward, and like I just said, I missed it and took a bogey, which I was not happy about, being over par through 4 holes on this layout. Hole 10 is a 300-foot hole, throwing a D1 forehand, just trying to get it down there and then skip right towards the pin, threw straight into the dirt, and had a tough second shot and did not get up and down thanks to another missed putt. Then hole 11 is a little hyzer shot I threw an A2 on. Absolute part that one. Took a 2 there. 12's, it's gettable from the red pad, especially in comparison to the black and gold pad. I did not get that one. Hole 13 is, so basically on hole 13, the red pad is where you're trying to land off of the black and gold pad, which is what, at least in my opinion, what I was trying to do. So easy little putter hyzer, not super easy, but there's a big gap to hit, and I just didn't hit it. Took a par there. Then I kind of got a groove going. I birdied 14, 15, 17, and 18, which were all pretty good. 15's only 119 feet, but threw a little P Model S forehand up there. I've been working on that this off season, and I'm glad to be able to implement that into my game because it's a nice, straight, soft finishing shot. Let's see, hole 17, I want to talk about this one for sure. I'm first on the box at this time, and my friend Matt Brown was on the card with me. He was second on the box. I step up, smash cage, dead center off my drive, and then he steps up right behind me, and he throws his putter, and he skips off the left side of the cage. It felt so bad for him because we both threw awesome shots. His looked better than mine, but he ended up being 30 feet and unfortunately took a par, but I was able to manage to get a birdie there, and then 18 was a little A2 forehand flat shot. Hole 1 is a very easy birdie from the red pad. Did not get that. The wind was ripping, and that's the first hole throwing back into the wind since, well, this is my first hole throwing into the wind of the whole round. Hole 2 is 340 feet out of a gap and then to the left, and then you gotta get it hold straight kind of. I had practiced throwing an F1, a pretty stable 500 Kevin Jones signature series one. But in the wind we had, I wanted to disc up and I threw an FX2, and I'm pretty thankful for that because I threw a great shot and ended up being 30 feet maybe at most. But I was pin high left with a left to right crosswind. So I told myself to aim at the band and put it on a little bit of hyzer on my putt so it wouldn't get away from me if I let it ante a little bit, and so it would drop. But I released it too high, and it landed on top of the basket, drop in 3. Then hole 3, pretty easy putter shot, got the birdie there. Hole 4, it's a par 4 from the red pad, unlike the black pad, which is a par 5, and the gold pad, which is even further back, and also a par 5. I'll get to that later because that's an interesting story. The fairway is probably about 100 feet wide, and it's very easy birdie in normal conditions from the red pad. It is just wide open, but with a 25-mile-an-hour headwind, it's a little trickier. So I stabled up and this down, to a brand new FX2. Problem is that I early released it a little bit, and the ground slopes, from my point of view with where I'm talking right now, it's like you're looking at it like this, and then there's OB like here, and then there's OB down here. I threw it, and it just kept going and kept going and kept going, and I was OB by about 2 feet down at the bottom of the hill. Wasn't in the water, thankfully, but it was still out of bounds in the tall grass down there. Couldn't get up and down from that, and took a 5, and then to finish the round, the hole 5, I threw my Seppo PA1, the 500 from this past year, and had a drop-in birdie on that hole. That left me with a 4 under par round, which was rated 979. Wasn't great. There was a lot to clean up there. I counted like 7 strokes just easily I gave away. And in the first round, even more. I think in those 2 rounds, according to my UDIS stats, I only putted 50% in each of them, so not great at all. Alright, moving on to round 3. So that second round was just good enough to move myself up into a 5-way tie for 25th. So I got the bump up to 5th card because of having the hottest round of all of us in the tie for 25th. And thankfully, because there was a ghost card that we had to have in this tournament, they put the ghost card on hole 3, which means me on 5th card, I started on hole 4, the hardest hole of the tournament from this gold pad especially. It's a 959-foot par 5. Off the tee, you have to throw out of a gap. I'll throw a picture up of this one for sure. You have to throw out of a gap, then cross water to then land where the black pad is, or just a little bit in front of that. Then you're going to throw past the red pad and throw on that same fairway I just mentioned a minute ago. So my drive, I threw a pretty straight F1, and it went OB in the water. Never crossed inbounds on the other side, so I had to throw from the drop zone. Drop zone shot, I threw a D model OS and just tried to get too aggressive, and I tried to bite off too much distance to try to save a 5 maybe. At best case scenario, I could have gotten a 5, but I shouldn't have tried. I should have just settled for trying to play for 6 and getting up and down for that, but this shot never came in bounds. So it's a 960-foot par 5 that I'm throwing 5 from about 100 feet off the pad at this point. And I was not the happiest to start this round thanks to this, so I just launched a D1 as safe as I could, and I got an 8. So it wasn't the worst score of the day either. This hole, I looked at the stats, and I was one of 16 scores of 8 or more in the MPO field, which was insane to me. But I knew I had a lot of golf left, and I was able to battle back. Very next hole, another drop-in birdie. The hole after that, another birdie. Hole 7, I had a chance for a birdie, but I messed up on a little forehand putter approach shot. Hole 8, I threw an okay drive, just took a par there. Hole 9, birdie. Hole 10, birdie. Hole 11 and 12, I threw a late release forehand and an early release forehand on these 2 holes, and I couldn't get up and down for my pars on either of them. So after starting 3 up on the first hole, battling back to under par, I was 1 down going into those 2 holes. I found myself at 1 over par for the round again. And I came into the tournament, or I came into this round at even par for the tournament, and I knew I needed to try to get to under par, and that's all that really mattered. Hole 13, let's see, what did I do on hole 13? I threw a great drive this time. I was in exactly the spot that I wanted to be, but there was a little bit of mud, and I just didn't have great footing and threw a bad second shot. Got a par there though. Hole 14, tough par 4. I had a great drive. Just they put myself in a spot where I could have gotten a birdie, but it was a really tough shot, and I did not get that. Hole 15, same hole as it was from the black pad, but 80 feet longer, and it's like the edge of my forehand distance range, but down a 5-foot tunnel, dead straight the whole way. And I could have thrown it back in, but I was not about to try to turn my eyes away from that gap. That's one reason why I love throwing forehands in the woods, is because I don't trust hitting a gap sometimes. But step up after one guy, and he absolutely laced it. I parked it. It was one of the most impressive shots I've seen. It was one of the only birdies of the day. Actually, let me check that real quick. It might have been the only birdie of the day. Never mind. There were 2 birdies. So, in a field of 56 players to only have 2 birdies is pretty insane. So, I stepped up after him and nailed the black pad's tee sign and bounced off some trees and landed in the fairway. So I had another shot, but it was really awkward, and I ended up having to scramble for a bogey and had to make like about a 25, 28 footer, which turns out to be the longest putt I made all tournament. It was kind of frustrating, but with the wind we had on Saturday afternoon, and with how cold it was in the mornings, and how hard it is to putt when it's cold and windy, and both at the same time especially, I can't be too upset with it. Like, I had a few easy mistakes, but overall, I put it okay. Hole 16, I came back. This is a pretty intimidating shot because you're throwing out of a gap, then you have to cross a road that you're throwing alongside. So, like, you're throwing this way, and the road is here. And then the black pad's fairway is here, or the black pad is here, like the fairway is here, and the basket's up here. It's a 350 shot from here, and I threw an H3V2 out to about here, and then I had a P Model S shot up to the green, tap-in birdie. So at this point, let's see, this put me back to 1 over par with 5 holes left, and I still had that goal in mind of getting back to under par. That's all I needed to do. Hole 17, tough par 3, hit a tree coming into the gap. Wasn't too mad about a par there. Hole 18, I thought I threw a perfect shot, but it stabled up at a spot I wasn't exactly expecting it to, and I took a par there. Hole 1 is a pretty tough hole from Gold. Not the toughest, but it's a tight gap, 318, and I took par there. Hole 2, at this point, I have 2 holes left, and I'm 1 over par. I know I probably need, and I was looking at scores here, I knew that I probably needed to go birdie on 2 and 3 to finish in order to cash. That's a fun feeling. It's only really fun when you actually pull it off, and I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that I did. Hole 2 is 493 feet, par 4, and it's a very tight gap, maybe 10 feet wide, and it's not just one gap, it's a gap, and then like if the tee's down here, it's a gap, then you have a big pine tree to miss in here, and like there's other gaps that you have to hit, but they're wider than this initial gap. So if you make this initial gap, you have to beat this pine tree, then you cross a creek, and then there's another gap, and then like some other stuff, and I was able to beat that pine tree, and I was like, okay, good, I know I'm gonna have a shot to the pin. And I just know I needed to execute. I've left myself with a forehand A2, which is a super comfortable shot for me, and I was able to execute and get up and down for birdie. So I'll go into hole 3 at even par, knowing I had done exactly what I needed to do on that hole. And then hole 3, all I needed to do was get a birdie. It's 184 feet, but it's a very tight gap. So I'm throwing this weird forehand turnover with my A2 off the fairway, and did not commit to the shot at all, but it got down there to a putt, and I knew it was going to be a putt, and I just didn't know how easy of a putt it would be. Turns out it was not easy at all. It was only about a 20-footer, but there was a huge oak tree, I think it was, that was blocking the entire basket from my lie. So I stretched out to the left. I was thinking about going to an Annie putt, and I just wasn't feeling that with like a head right to left wind. Then I thought about it for a little bit, and I was able to stretch out all the way to the right. Kind of had and I was doing a full split out to the right. Had a tree like right here in relation to my body, so I'm just like sitting here trying to figure out how I can get a swing, and I was able to like contort my body a little bit to like have a little bit of space off this tree while still being able to see some of the basket. I could only see about 2 chain links, maybe 3 if I like did this a little bit. But with a head right to left wind, I was reading that and going to try to use that to my advantage. I put the disc up on this angle right here on my putt, and then I aimed it at the top right nub of the cage that I could see, knowing that the wind was going to lift it and push it. So I did that. I heard it hit the chains. That's all I know at the time, and none of my card mates were saying anything, and I couldn't see anything until I got up. And so when I got up, someone told me good putt. Turns out the disc actually came, and one of them told me it came and like went through the chains and then bounced on top of the cage and then fell back in. So I was super fortunate to actually have that stick, but very, very thankful for it. That round didn't feel that great to me, but it turned out to be 995 rated and brought me back into the cash, tie for 19th. Going in, my goal was a top 20, and I accomplished that. Definitely a lot to work on. I have a lot of mistakes that cost me a lot of strokes in this tournament. None of them were, well, a few of them were easy, but most of them were just hard shots that I didn't execute on. And I have a lot of work I know I need to do, but this is a good step in the right direction that tells myself that despite how mediocre I feel like I played, I still averaged 978 rated golf, and I still cashed at a pretty big B tier. I actually looked, and I was the lowest rated player who cashed, and the next lowest rated player before or below me was like outside the top 30. So good improvement on my game recently, and I am extremely excited to see where 2021 goes. I have a lot of tournaments lined up starting next weekend with the Atlanta Hustle presents Ice in My Chains. It's a fundraiser tournament for the Atlanta Professional Ultimate Team, the Atlanta Hustle. It's at Perkerson Park. I've never played there. I'm going to get to go on Friday, hopefully, if the rain holds off. Right now there's a 60% chance of rain. I hope I don't have to play a blind, but we'll see how everything goes. And I just want to thank my sponsors, Prodigy Disc, first of all. 2021 is going to be great, and I cannot wait for everything that this company is going to be doing. I've heard a lot of exciting news. Second of all, Disc Golf America. If you haven't checked them out yet, you need to right now. www.discgolfamerica.com. They're taking over the online retail game. And lastly, thank God for letting me do what I love and do it safely and everything. And just grateful for the ability to be able to do this and share it with you right now, because this has been pretty fun. I'm not the best with these vlogs yet, but I'm trying to improve a little bit, and we'll see how the year goes and see if I can make some more content or film on the course more. But yeah, if you've heard me rambling for this long, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and I appreciate everything. I'm not trying to really build my YouTube into being everything about disc golf for me. That's why I'm not really taking much of an initiative to film during rounds like I have in the past. I'm trying to focus more on playing, but we will see what can happen from whatever this turns into. I have now been rambling for almost half an hour, so thank you for watching, if you're still watching, and good afternoon, night, evening, whatever time, or morning if you're watching this in the morning, and thanks for watching. Bye.